Here is pre-calculus Tuesday, October 15th homework. This is day 2 of section 3.3. What we are doing is going to go from, for question number 1, we are translating this from, this is x-intercept form, we're going to translate this to polynomial form. All you have to do is FOIL this binomial. X times x is x squared, x times 1 is 1x, minus 2x, minus 2. Add like terms, and then distribute the 3. So you get 3x squared minus 3x minus 6. Don't forget your f of x. So now this is polynomial form, so we know now the y-intercept is -6. For number 2, same thing, you're going to FOIL this x minus 5 times x minus 2. You can do this quickly, x squared minus 7x plus 10. And then distribute the -2, you get -2x squared plus 14x minus 20. And don't forget f of x. And number 3, this is in transformation form. To convert this to polynomial form, you're going to square x plus 3. You get x squared plus 6x plus 9. And that's the short way. You square the first term, multiply these two times 2, you get 6x, and square the last term. Now what you'll do is multiply this trinomial by -2. You get -2x squared minus 12x minus 18, and then add -4. Your final answer is -2x squared minus 30x, minus, forgot the 12x, that's -12x, so it's minus 12x and then minus 22. Don't forget f of x. Okay, these 3 down below, they are in polynomial form, and your job is to turn them into transformation form, which is vertex form. So I'm going to do complete the square. So 10 gets, you slide 10 over and factor out a 3 out of these two. So you get x squared minus 4x. Take half of -4, which is -2, and square it. You get 4. You're going to add 4 here. Really, you added 12, so you're going to subtract 12. Factor, you get x minus 2, quantity squared minus 2. It is now in vertex or transformation form. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 2, and 2, -2 is your vertex. Next one. I'm going to factor a -6 out of the first two. -6 x squared plus 2x. Slide -1 over. So make sure you do this correctly. -6x squared and then minus 12x. Do not take the 6 out of the 1. Don't divide that. So take half of 2, which is 1, and square it. You're going to add 1. Really, you added -6, so you're going to add a positive 6 here. You do the opposite. -6 plus 6 is 0. Factor, and you are done. So f of x is equal to -6 times x plus 1 and then plus 5. So your axis of symmetry is x equals -1, -1, 5 is your vertex. And number 6, you're going to slide -3 over. Half squared is 9. You're going to add 9, but take it away. So you get x minus 3 squared and then minus 12. Axis of symmetry is x equals 3. Your vertex is 3, -12. Okay. The next 3 are asking you to write it into x-intercept form. So you need the x-intercepts. Now, if it's not factorable, you have to either complete the square or you have to use the quadratic formula. I'm going to complete the square here. So if you set y equal to 0 to find the x-intercepts, you add 5. Half of 2 is 1 squared. You're going to add 1 to both sides. Factor, square root. So you get x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus root 6 and subtract 1. So in x-intercept form, your answer would be f of x. The a value for this is 1, so you don't need that out, but x minus negative 1 plus root 6, and x minus negative 1 minus root 6. Now if you want to simplify it more by distributing the negative, you can, but for now just let's leave it. Next one, let's find the x-intercepts. So x squared minus 4x plus 6 equals 0. When you subtract 6, you're going to see something interesting. You get negative 6. Half of this squared is 4. You're going to add 4 to both sides. But when you factor this and add these, you get negative 2. When you take the square root, you get a negative number. That means you can't, there are no x-intercepts. You can't take the square root of a negative number. So since there are no x-intercepts, you can't write this in x-intercept form. There are no x-intercepts. When you graph this, let's take a look at what this thing looks like if you graph it. So x squared minus 4x and then plus 6. When you graph this, you will see clearly that it does not hit the x-axis, therefore there are no x-intercepts. So this one cannot be converted to x-intercept form. That's what the graph looks like. So there are no x-intercepts. And for this one, I think we can factor this one. Let's try 2x and x and 3 and 2. And we're going to put a negative here and a positive here. Let's check this out. I'm guessing, and I'm going to see if this works. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 2 is 4 minus 3. So we get a little boo-boo here. We have to just make that a plus and this a minus. And now it factors. We have negative 4x plus 3x is negative 1x. So your x-intercepts are negative 3/2 and 2. So how do you write this in x-intercept form? F of x is equal to the a values 2, and you're going to write x plus 3/2 and x minus 2, just like that. And how do you go from, these are x-intercept form, to, we're going to do transformation form. Well, if you look at this, I'm going to do these in two different ways. If you find the x-intercepts here, which are negative 1 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The number halfway between negative 1 and 5 is 2. So this is 3 units this way and 3 units that way. So x is equal to 2 is your axis of symmetry. So what important point lies on the axis of symmetry is the vertex. So if you were to plug 2 right here and right here, you get 3 times 2 plus 1 is 3. And 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So you get negative 27. So 2 negative 27 is your vertex. So to write this in vertex form would be f of x equals, take the a value out, 3, and then x minus 2 squared, and then minus 27. And the last one, you could do the same way, or what you could do is FOIL it. You could FOIL x times x is x squared, and then you get minus 4x minus 12, and factor the negative 4 out, negative 4x squared, plus 16x, and then minus plus 48. Now if you wanted to, let's complete the square. We're going to slide 48 over. We're going to factor out a -4. You're going to take half of that and square it, which is 4. Really, we added -16, so we're going to add a 16. Can you factor? You get x minus 2 squared, and this is 64. So it is now
Emily Chidova, if you're in the building, can you please come to the main office?
transformation form.
Emily Chidova, please come to the main office. Thank you.
The last three are asking you for all the different forms and to make a complete graph. So for question number 12, since this is in vertex form, we know three things. We know that it's down. We know the axis of symmetry is x equals 2. This is down, x equals 2, and 2, -5 is your vertex. So we know those three things, x equals 2, and then we have 2, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now what we're going to do is find the other forms. So this is down, axis of symmetry is x equals 2. I don't have a spot here for the vertex. We're going to write that in -5. Now, how do you write this? Let's find the x-intercepts. It's easiest to set y equal to 0. So we have -6 times x minus 2 squared minus 5. If you set this equal to 0, if you add 5 and divide by -6, you will see that you get 5 over -6, but when you take the square root, you have a negative here. So there are no x-intercepts. So, and that makes sense because this is going to be going down like this. So since there are no x-intercepts, you can't write this in x-intercept form. There are none. How do you write this in polynomial form? Well, you'd have to FOIL this. X minus 2 squared is x squared minus 4x plus 4. And then distribute the -6 and then add -5. So you get -6x squared plus 24x minus 24 and then -5. -6x squared plus 24x minus 29. So this is polynomial form. This is what would go on this top line. You'd write y equals -6x squared plus 24x minus 29. And what's so nice about this form is you have your y-intercept, which is 0, -29. Does this make sense? Is this thing going to hit at 0, -29? Probably. But how would you sketch this graph? I would put a couple points like 1, and once you do 1, if you plug 1 in here, 1 minus 2 is -1, -1 squared is 1, and 1 times -6 is -6, minus 5 is -11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is going to be -11 also, and there's your graph. For your test, I will make sure that your graph hits the graph more than that. The next one. This form is x-intercept form. There's two things you get out of this. This is up, and we have the two x-intercepts, 2, 0, and -1, 0. Let's plot those, 2, 0, and -1, 0. Okay, so what you could do is cut this in half, these two spots, and you can see that your axis of symmetry is going to be 1/2, okay? So now you can do that and then plug 1/2 in here to figure out the vertex. You can do that. So if 1/2 is your axis of symmetry, you're going to plug 1/2 in here, 1/2 minus 2, and then 1/2 plus 1, and multiply all that by 4. So this is gonna be negative 3/2, and this is gonna be 3/2. And then multiply these by 4. So 2 times 2 is 4, these cancel, so you get negative 9. So 1/2 comma negative 9 is your vertex. So your vertex is 1/2 negative 9. And this is going to be up. Axis of symmetry is x equals 1/2. We found our x-intercepts are 2, 0, and negative 1, 0. Okay, so let's start graphing this. Over 1/2 and down 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's our vertex. So for transformation form by using the vertex, we can plug in, write our equation. It's a times x minus 1/2 quantity squared minus 9. Now, if we FOIL this, we will see our polynomial form, and then we can find our y-intercept, which is the last thing. If you FOIL this out, you get x squared minus x minus 2, and then multiply this all by 4, so you get 4x squared minus 4x minus 8. So that's polynomial form, which means your y-intercept is 0, negative 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we have another point that's across right there, and there is your graph. So your y-intercept we said is 0, negative 8, and your equation for polynomial form is y equals 4x squared minus 4x minus 8. Last one. This one's polynomial form. 2 things. It's up, and the y-intercept is 0, 45. Okay. How do you find, we need the other forms. Let's convert this to vertex form. You're going to pull a 3 out of these two. So you get x squared plus 8x. Slide 45 over. Half of 8 is 4. Squaring it, you get 16. Well, 16 times 3 is 48, so you're going to subtract 48. So factor, you get x plus 4 quantity squared, and then minus 3. So in transformation form, you get y equals, and you can write f of x, 3 times x plus 4 quantity squared minus 3. So we now know the axis of symmetry, which is x equals negative 4, and our vertex is negative 4, negative 3. So let's graph what we have so far. So negative 4 is your axis of symmetry, and we have negative 4, negative 3, 1, 2, 3. And we have 0, 45 is our, it's way up here is your y-intercept, so that's too big. So let's see where the graph hits the y-axis. Or the x-axis. Let's set y equal to 0. And you have 3 times x plus 4 squared minus 3. So if we solve this, and I'm going to rewrite it this way, so you can see the math a little bit better. Add 3 and divide by 3, you get 1. Square root of both sides, you get
Angelo Shake,
x
please
plus
go to the
4
comments area. Thank you.
squared is plus or minus 1. You took the square root, so you get x plus 4 is equal to plus or minus 1. Now subtract 4, it's negative 4 plus 1, and negative 4 minus 1. So it's negative 3 and negative 5 are your 2 x-intercepts. So negative 3 and negative 5 are your x-intercepts. Yeah. So how do you write this in x-intercept form? And here's the graph of it. So it's y equals, the a value is 3, and then it's x plus 3 times x plus 5. And our x-intercepts are negative 3, 0, and negative 5, 0. And that's the graph. this concludes today's homework.